And hello, everyone. It is good to see you. And yes, apparently, there is sound. There is sound. Fine catch. But apparently, all my little knobs, and by knobs I mean sliders, on the screen. I don't actually have an in-person mixing board, which maybe I should. Maybe that would be the next step in professionalism. But I will say it would be easier than trying to slide all of the things independently. Regardless, I digress. Hello, hello. It is wonderful to see you, to be here with you on this, possibly the weirdest Tuesday that we have had yet. And I say that just because I am of the opinion, now feel free to stop me, but I am of the opinion that everything is pretty much getting weirder. The world is getting weirder, stranger, more fucked up. Just everything you could possibly imagine that is possibly getting weird, it is happening. So that said, every new day is a new benchmark, as it were, in the scale of weird. So yeah. I am curious about what sort of weird things you might have experienced. And you know, it's always me sharing these stories of the world, of news, science, things like that, but I want to know how you are doing and how things are going with you. And if you are catching this on the VOD, please feel free to share in the comments or join live next time. And if you are live, hello, it is wonderful to see you, and that would include PWB, the smashiest of Bronxes. Hello, wonderful to see you. But yeah, I'm just gonna slide it across the table. I'm gonna put it out there. I would love to know what some of the weirdest stuff is that you have experienced. And Craghorst, hello! The gang's practically all here. It's wonderful to see everyone. But yeah, it has been a time, and I will say too, just in terms of my own experience floating through this earthly plane, yeah, I know a lot of people I've talked to have definitely experienced the hey universe, let's slow it down. You're up here, I need you to bring it down here. And that is one of the things that I feel like I'm gonna need. And yeah, no, Bronx Smash, you know what, I don't even remember the last time I was live. It's been a minute because there's been so much going on. But it is good to see you now, and that's the important thing. Yeah, no, so a lot of people who, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna put a pin in that real quick, and I'm gonna share that I just now happened to look over, and over here in the room is where the where some of the enclosures for some of my animal besties are, and I happened to look over, and Udon, who is my reticulated python, is in his enclosure and was just sitting there, just completely up and just staring at me, just staring at me. And it's about feeding time, so I'm not surprised. I too often stare longingly out the window when I've ordered food and it's on its way and I'm waiting in hunger. But yeah, it was just a very odd moment. But yeah, aside from that, a lot of you who follow me on the other places, which if you don't, you know, I'm not here to force you of anything, but if you want to, it would be great to see you around. Yeah, you know that I've been dealing with my doglet, who he does have cancer, and he's actually been starting to have some strokes as well, so that's a little bit stressful. But then also yesterday early morning / late Sunday night, depending on when you go to sleep, yeah, I had a family thing go on. My dad got in a car accident, which that was really scary. And by car accident, I mean he was actually airlifted to a hospital. Turns out he is as okay as he can be, you know, and some broken bones, not feeling too great, gonna be off his feet for a few months, but best outcome of a bad scenario. Either way, that's a lot that's going on. I'm like, yo, you girl's tired. I have here all of this coffee, just to keep going and to stave off the happenings of the world. But you know, it's crazy out there. But also, Akata04, hello and welcome. So anyway, that's the, I don't know if any of that would be technically weird per se on my end, but it's certainly wild and unexpected and stuff that I would rather not be having happen. But that all said, yes, if you have any weird things that you've experienced or had happen, I would love to know what they are. So please drop them below wherever it is you happen to be, whether or not that's live or not live. I see you either way. I see all. By the way, for anyone who may be catching this who doesn't know who I am, I'm Rockette Fox. Hello. It is nice to meet you. But yeah, you know what? Without further ado, let's jump in. I've got some things that are, you know, I've always got weird stuff, obviously. I mean, you see the things happening. You know where you are. But this first one, weird, or stupid. And it's amazing how much those two things kind of overlap. It's kind of like, I don't know if anyone ever heard, one of the national parks, they were talking about creating a bear-proof trash can. And the reason they've not been able to do it, however, is that the overlap, the Venn diagram overlap between the most stupid people and the smartest bears, there's overlap there. And that's how I feel about with news that is weird and or stupid. So this, and you'll notice, Bronx Smash, this is actually a little bit on point for what you've just said about a weird thing, new bed sleeping, because this is in fact a picture of bed. This story, so this happened in Illinois, and crime is not exactly the word that I would use. Illegal, yes. Crime, probably not. There is only one victim, and I believe he's fine now, but so this happened in the suburbs of Chicago, and this individual who it appears is unnamed, and that's probably for the best. This person is facing firearm charges after he shot himself in the leg because he dreamed that an intruder had intruded into his house. So what we do know is that this person is, at least as of this happening, was 62 years old, shot himself in the leg, apparently did apply his own tourniquet because he, quote, was losing a significant amount of blood. And listen, the leg is meaty. There's a lot of meat there. There's some important arteries. There's a lot of stuff you don't want to shoot. So yeah, that happened. But apparently when responders responded, what he said was he, quote, had a dream that someone was breaking into his home, and during that dream, he retrieved his .357 Magnum revolver and shot at who he believed was the intruder. Now, I don't want to get too deep on you here, but from what I gather from all of this, apparently the man himself was the intruder all along. And also apparently when he actually shot himself, he woke up. So it seems like a little bit of dream, maybe a little bit of like partial asleepness, maybe dreamed about the intruder, kind of partially woke up, or this person has a level of sleepwalking that needs to really be looked into. But a warrant was issued on June 9th of this month for possession of a firearm without a valid FOID card and reckless discharge of said firearm, both of which are felonies. He was arrested on Monday, which was the Monday after June 9th, and released after posting bond, and is scheduled for a June 29th court status hearing. So we are only a couple days away from this person's actual court date. Apparently, online court records do not list an attorney who could speak on the man's behalf. He may have been both the intruder and his own attorney. We shall see. Again, there's only a couple days before really finding out. But so that's, you know, oh my gosh. So, oh yeah, no, Bronx Mash, that makes sense. That he would have had the gun under his pillow, which I think is a terrible idea. Please let me give you my own word of wisdom right now. Please do not put any firearm under your pillow. Your head goes right there. And I know, like, you put safeties and stuff, but if you can discharge it in your sleep, under the pillow is probably a bad plan. Yeah, PWB, you meddling kids. Ah, my leg. He unmasked, and it was himself the whole time. But yeah, also, before we move on to the next story, I do want to point out, Craghorse does share in chat here. Apparently today in town, emergency services had to be called to save a, quote, older child who was stuck in a toddler swing at a local park, which I don't remember, because I know there were definitely times when I had outgrown the toddler swing that I still, like, tried to mess around with it. Those days are over. Those days are far behind me. Like, I know my limits now. But I would be very curious. I see that it was a quote-unquote older child, but I would be very curious to see how old this child... Like, an older child is in, like, 8 to 10, you know, still young enough to make choices that it's like... Oh, 14. Okay, so it was 14. It was 14. This individual was 14. Yeah, still making some iffy choices, but... Oh, that's a guess. Okay. Yeah, like... It's hard to say. I would want to say that there's a certain age in which one may not make the choice, like, or if, you know, you start trying to get into the toddler swing and you feel yourself starting to get stuck, that maybe you abort the mission. But I do not actually know when, if ever, there's an actual age cutoff for that. That might be something that just continues forever. Again, bears and trash cans. So, next up, we have oh yes. So, okay. So also, the story suggested a teen. Just to circle back on the toddler swing, the infamous toddler swing incident. But so next up, I don't know necessarily if this is a stupid thing, like, even weird, like, I don't know how much this constitutes weird either, as much as just terrifying. Also, Ice Bunny, hello, it is so good to see you. I am so glad you're here. How are you doing? But yeah, so what had happened, you see, is... And you might recognize, because I actually have a video I'm going to show you, because a video was taken of this event. And I make a face because this bad. It's bad. And, you know, before, well, I'll play the video. Well, roll the footage. Okay, so here we go. We have an ad. Okay, I'm just going to assume. Just don't look at it. Don't look at it. Here, hang on. Let's go back to this bed. Okay. No, it's still an ad. Wait. Wow, this is a really long ad. Oh my goodness. Nope, it's still happening. It's still going, and I can't pass it. So anyway, what happened, so you're a little bit prepared going in. It was a plane ride. Here we go. A plane ride. And you'll notice there's a lot of wind, something you normally don't want to see on a plane ride. And, oh, is that the door just wide open? Is that the door wide open? Yes. Yes, it is. So, the rear cargo door just burst open. Yeah. So, So luckily it seems like no one was injured. Everyone made it out alive, but yeah, apparently this happened at 30,000 feet, where the door just boop right on open. And this happened apparently 30 minutes after the plane departed from San Luis en route to Salvador City. I will tell you, like, I would have a heart attack. This is why also you should always keep your seatbelt on when you're seated, because you will get sucked right out of there like something that gets sucked right out of something. But so it was a medium-bodied jet, quote, that was transporting the band of Brazilian singer-songwriter Thierry after the group had performed a, quote, show attended by thousands of people. Yeah, exactly. No, PWB is right. The door burst open just like the old man's leg artery after he shot himself after dreaming about an intruder. But yeah, so apparently though, and here's where it gets a little bit interesting. Well, maybe. Apparently, the frontman to said band was not on board, as he had departed on a different flight ahead of his bandmates. Sabotage? Question mark? Was he tired of these bandmates? I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just laying out the possibilities. I also, as an aside, I do not know this band. So I am speaking completely out of my ass right now. So everything with a grain of salt. Pretty much everything I normally say grain of salt. So just, you know. But yeah, I don't know who exactly had posted it, but someone, obviously, who was on board took a video and, you know, put it on Twitter and all this stuff. But from the, I think it's actually from the plane company, it starts off in this tweet, quote, "There was a moment of grave concern." And it goes on to explain what happened, but grave concern, I think, is really putting that mildly. But yeah, perhaps Thierry was trying to go solo, or was done with the band thing. Maybe he wanted to become an actor. You know, I'm not here to say one way or the other, but I don't know. Convenient? Question mark. I'm looking at you, Thierry. So yeah, so that was an interesting one. Again, not necessarily. It is weird, but in the way that the first one is weird, stupid, this one's kind of just weird, terrifying. And speaking of weird, terrifying, yeah, so the Earth, you know it, I know it. It's a place in which we all reside, right? And there are a few things I know about the Earth. One of them is that, you know, it spins. We're always spinning around, which is good. You know, that allows us to stay flat, walk around, gravity, all of the other good things about the Earth and its rotation. Lets us have regular days, nights, etc., etc. Now, that being said, yeah, the people down under don't fall off. All very important. So, I don't want to alarm anyone, but apparently, from Science News of this month, apparently, we, as a species, as a people, if you will, we've pumped so much groundwater, and by that meaning, you know, bringing water from underground up out of the underground. We've pumped so much groundwater that we've changed the actual spin of the Earth. The Earth is spinning differently now because of the amount of groundwater we've pumped up. And that makes me feel uncomfortable, to put it in the same way that there was a moment of grave concern for the plane door just like yeeting itself open. I feel grave concern on this particular story. So apparently, and this is from the Science Daily, and all the information is sourced from the American Geophysical Union. But yeah, so apparently by pumping water out of the ground and moving it some anywhere else, humans have shifted such a large mass of water that the Earth has tilted nearly 80 centimeters, which, for non-centimeter savvy folk, that's about 31.5 inches east between 1993 and 2010 alone. So in recent history, we have tilted the Earth 80 centimeters or 31.5 inches. And I think that is alarming. I find that alarming. Yeah, so, what is happening? So it's based on climate models. Scientists had previously estimated humans pumped 2,150 gigatons of groundwater, equivalent to more than 6 millimeters or 0.24 inches of sea level rise from 1993 to 2010. And of course, there's a lot of scientific process that goes into it, none of which I'm going to really explain. If it's something you really want to read more up on, absolutely look it up. The scientific, study information and words are all there. But yeah, so it's affected sea level rise. It's affected the Earth's rotation, water. And this is, again, and the thing that really I find most surprising about this is that it's between just 1993 and 2010, which is in the time span of our history as, a species. That's not all that long. Oh, well, Craghorse does bring up that they have a well on the property, so really, I think it's safe to say, Craghorse, that it is all from your one specific well. This 0.24 inches of sea level rise, all completely from your well. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not mad. But yeah, so this is something I think does qualify as weird, but it's also kind of, well, not even just kind of, it is actually shocking. It's not something that I necessarily would have thought of, just the amount of groundwater being taken and made into non-groundwater and how that affects the Earth's rotation. But, in this moment right now, as I'm explaining it, I liken it to, like, the body in a way, like one thing always affects another. If you have, like, something going on one part of your body and all these other parts compensate, it's a good metaphor, and I stand behind it. I haven't, again, I'm coming up with it on the spot, so I'm doing my best, but I feel that it is sound. So yeah, so that's something to keep an eye on, question mark. Yeah. The next story I have for you is something that is a little lighter, a little faster, may also affect the Earth's rotational spin as well. I mean, I don't know that there's any proof that it is not affecting the Earth's rotational spin, but the article came out on June 24th, and what we have here is an individual known as Christian Roberto Lopez Rodriguez has officially broken the Guinness World Record for fastest 100-meter sprint in heels. And this is an actual picture. This is an actual picture of this individual doing the deed, as it were. So apparently they are 2.76-inch stilettos, which I do want to point out, and this is just a personal thing. As I read this article, I would not consider anything under 5 inches to be a stiletto. It's a heel with a thin point, and that's fine, but I would consider that just to be a heel. Stiletto is like a stiletto, right? So anyway, neither here nor there. But yeah, he ran the distance that, again, is 100 meters in 12.82 seconds. Yeah, which also got him his 57th Guinness World Record. I'm going to assume that a lot of the other records deal with running. Apparently though, and this I think is very interesting because this is way faster than I will ever be in my entire life. The time that he got of 12.82 seconds for the 100 meter was only 3.24 seconds slower than 8-time Olympic gold medal winner Usain Bolt's 100 meter sprint world record. So he was only 3.24 seconds slower than the actual world record for the 100 meter sprint in these heels. So, you know, PWB, I would say that my guess, like looking at these legs right now, I would say he did shave for the purposes of this. Because, you know, again, the picture is only so close, but from what I'm seeing here, those appear to be some very smooth legs. A lot of definition, very short shorts, but also very smooth. Okay, so Craghorse does bring up, technically have to consider shoe size versus heel height to get the ratio appropriate for proper stiletto-ness. That, you know what? I feel that makes sense. There's a lot of words there that I feel ring scientifically true for me. So apparently this man is very fast. And he said, quote, "The preparation was very exhaustive and specific." Which I would guess it would be. I mean, you don't just put on the heels. No one took him seriously until he put on the heels, is basically what I'm getting out of this. So apparently also he managed to dethrone Germany's Andre Ortolf, who set the record in 2019 with a time of 14.02 seconds. So, you know, take from that what you will, but I really, you know, I'm impressed, I guess. You know, it's definitely a faster 100 meter than I could do. Yeah, and also catching back up in chat, Ice Bunny, I am so sorry to hear about this. That sounds like such a pain in the butt, and I super hope that that this individual chills out, for one, but also that like stuff just gets smoother. That's rough. So the last, so there are, once again, Rodriguez, this man in the heels, has 57, or I guess this is the 57th, so he has 56, other world records, and apparently some of them do include, let's see, a few of the other titles for the 100 meter sprint, including fastest 100 meter sprint blindfolded, fastest 100 meter sprint in a sack, a potato sack, I'm guessing, I'm not really sure, fastest 100 meter sprint in clogs, and fastest 100 meter sprint backwards. And then there's also other world records that this individual has won, including doing things like balancing objects like a bicycle on his chin and an object on his nose for the longest duration of time. It doesn't say that it was a bicycle. I'm not really sure what the object was, but apparently he does a lot of 100 meter sprints and balancing. What I would really like to see at this point would be him doing a 100 meter sprint whilst balancing something on his nose. So, you know, I think if you've got the skills, you're really cheating only yourself by not doing it. Craghorse does bring up a good point. Have they done the 100 meter sprint in flippers? That is actually something I'm very curious about. Because, yeah, no, and Bronx Smash brings up a good point. The 100 meter sprint in heels is balancing, and there's a lot of calf involved, right? Like, heels, it makes your calves look nice because you're engaging your calves more when you're in heels. Whereas a 100-meter sprint in flippers would be wide leg running. Actually, and you know what? I'm curious enough. Hang on. 100. Let me rephrase. Fastest 100-meter dash in flippers. Let's find out. Let's see. So we've got high heels. There's oh, hold on. I'm seeing something here. So we have here, oh my word. So I will say, Craghorst, you will be happy to know, apparently there is a video of the fastest 100 meter, and this is 100 meter. I have lost the ability to speak. This is 100 meter hurdles wearing swim flippers. So this is not just running the 100 meters, it's doing hurdles. The record is 19.278 seconds and was achieved by Veronica Tor of New Zealand, in New Zealand. So yeah, 100-meter hurdles and flippers. I feel like 100-meter dash would be easier than hurdles in flippers? Question mark? So the site that I went to, the video looks like it's down. I bet though, if you look up 100-meter hurdle flippers, there's probably still video of it somewhere. And I want to see it because I cannot imagine that would not be the most awkward run I have ever seen in my life. And I, quite frankly, am here for it. So that being said, next up, I found this to be actually very interesting because I just had a conversation about this the other day. So you will notice these two individuals in this picture that I am showing you here. You'll also notice that they look very similar. One might even say perhaps close enough to be siblings and or twins. I'm super, like, I am probably more stoked about this than I should be because literally just had a conversation about this. So, their names, and so they're not doppelgangers. So I sigh because I feel like their parents should have done a little differently on the names. I feel like, you know, not my say. Maybe it's totally fine. But their names are Peter and Peter. And they're cousins. They're cousins. But genetically, so by family members, they are cousins. But by genetics, they're actually more like brothers. So they are on TikTok. They're known as the Peter twins. Peter and Peter. So the situation is that their mothers are identical twins. Their fathers are also identical twins. Boom. There it is. Identical. A pair of identical twins married another pair of identical twins, and they both had a son that they named the same name for whatever reason. I don't even, like, if I had a child, I would probably not give the same name as one of their cousins even. Again, that's just my own take on it. You know, that's just my own take on it. And who knows, maybe Peter is a family name. I don't know. But yeah, so a pair of identical twins, I'm assuming married, I think they're married, I don't know, but pair of identical twins matched up with another pair of identical twins, and the Peters, the Peter pair, was the result. And so they are considered to be quaternary twins. Quaternary twins, which apparently is, you know, even with that setup, is apparently very rare. But it can occur when one set of identical twins has children with another set of identical twins. And again, like, evidently, I don't know the statistics on how many identical twins are having kids with other identical twins. I'm probably gonna do this hand thing like a couple more times at least. But even out of that scenario, apparently their kids having essentially brother-cousin twins is still pretty rare. So yeah, there you have it. But they seem to be enjoying it. I mean, again, they have a TikTok channel with, it's called the Peter Twins? Peter Twins. Their channel is called, yes, the Peter Twins. So yeah, interesting. I think it's very interesting. And again, it was very fortuitous. Well, fortuitous isn't the right word. Asynchronous. It was very synchronous because literally I was just having a conversation about whether or not this could happen. And I'm glad to see that I was right in that conversation. So I really would like to revel in that moment of being right. So next up, I have something, a lot of times when I bring weird stories, we have a number of stories involving like crimes and criminals and stupid things like that. But I wanted to bring, we need a little refresher, a little good news, a little bit of happy stuff. So I focused a little bit more on that this time, and I've got to tell you, whoever you are, will be thrilled by this next bit of news. What you're seeing right here, let me explain it to you in case there's any confusion. So what you're seeing here, this is an individual lady with, I do have to say, this is her wedding dress. And I just want to point out these fringe sleeves right here because they're pretty fantastic. These fringe sleeves they slap. They're amazing. And here, standing next to her, is her now husband. Way less fringe, which I do feel a little cheated by. But between the two of them, you'll notice here is a cat. A cat. So the story is, and apparently you'll have to check your own state for the legalities of this, but where they were in Denver, which I guess I'm not totally surprised, but in Denver, this cat, Momo, watched her humans, Amanda and Steve, tie the knot and made it official by signing their marriage licenses as a witness. And in a way, Momo has also set a record because Momo is the first, or actually, no, I don't know if she is the first. This was a quote. I'm sorry. I may have overspoken. So Amanda, who is the woman with the fringe, says Momo is the first cat that we got together, so she's very special. So first in terms of their relationship. I don't know about the rest of it, but apparently, it is completely legal to have a cat, at least in Denver, be your witness for your marriage. So, and apparently they actually, did not, this was not their first plan. So apparently what had happened was Amanda and Steve, who is the fringeless gentleman, they had gotten hitched by a minister in front of friends and family last September, but they took a honeymoon in Iceland, they got back home to Colorado, and then they realized that they had lost their marriage license before they filed with the government, which, for all you pseudo-lawyers and real lawyers out there, rendered their union unofficial in the eyes of the law. So, what they did, they opted to redo their I-do's with Momo on June 3rd. And yeah, so apparently in Colorado, which this is my favorite part of this, in Colorado, the cat could also serve as the wedding officiant. You could have a cat officiate your wedding. But technically, you could not have the same cat both officiate and be the witness for the same wedding. So if you wanted to do that, you would have to have two separate cats for that sort of happening. But yeah, apparently in Colorado, this goes not just for cats. It's not just cats written into the law. Any pet in Colorado can be a witness for the, marriage licensing stuff. Apparently somebody had commented on this that they had a coworker who had a dog and a bearded dragon serve as witnesses for their union. But yeah, so Colorado has a self-solemnization marriage law, which allows couples to conduct their wedding ceremonies sans an ordained officiant. So you know how a lot of people will, get the online, I'm a minister, says the Church of Onlineness. You do not have to do that in Colorado to be an actual, officiant or anything like that. And yeah. It says, according to the state's Department of Public Health and Environment, sweethearts who choose to marry without a minister or government official are simply, quote, responsible for acquiring, completing, and returning the license to marry to the appropriate county office of the clerk and recorder. So, some things to note, a couple of the other states mentioned that allow this: California, Pennsylvania, and Illinois. So, I don't know if there are other states aside from that, but I do feel that it is worth looking into for your own personal state. I feel that it is probably the best move you could ever make. This is a little weird news that hopefully will affect your life directly. And moving along, I have a couple other ones that deal with animals, which, as you all know, are my favorite weird stories. So this next one, it's only a little bit weird. It's only a little bit weird. But it is fantastic, and it is very cute. Alpacas. We love them. We know them. We love them. They are soft. They are cute. Sometimes they wear hats. And it's amazing. So, these particular alpacas get walked in the mornings in Tokyo. Now, anyone who has been to Tokyo or is otherwise familiar with this, there are a lot of cafes that'll be like, there's, a cafe that's like a bird cafe or a cat cafe. The original starter location for cat cafes and stuff like that. But there are cafes of many other types of animals as well, is what I'm saying. And these two fine specimens, they belong to Alpaca Land, which is a place that, mark my words, I will go to. But yeah, so on leads held by their keepers, Akane and Satsuki trot down streets past shops, temples, crop grass in a pocket park, and share crosswalks with occasional pedestrians before heading back to Alpaca Land. So essentially, guests can go to Alpaca Land and pay 1,000 yen, or roughly $7, to spend 30 minutes either petting, hugging, putting your face up in their fleece. So they're both apparently about 5 years old. They are very, very cute. And for these two specific alpacas, apparently a lot of alpacas are naturally a little more timid, but these two are well trained, pretty laid back, so they acclimate to meeting strangers and being adorable very well. So not necessarily like a news story per se, because walking any type of fun pet down the street isn't necessarily news, but it is something that I would love to see. And I do want to see both of these alpacas in hats as well. That's something that I'm really hoping for. Also, Coldrake, hello! It is so good to see you. And yeah, they mentioning that they are furry Great Danes. To be fair, most Great Danes I've seen are about that size, so that does track. Which brings up my next question. I wonder if with the right breeding, you could get, like, a real fuzzy Great Dane. That's not a me thing to figure out, but I do think it would be very cute. And so, the last... Oh, hold up. Before I go to our last story, Craghorse brings up, had a ferret in junior high school, took him on a family trip to Canada, got to see a lot of cool stuff. I do want to say, Craghorse, if you had taken this ferret to Colorado, you could have had it officiate and or witness a wedding. I'm just saying, you know, I don't want to be presumptuous, but, you know, I'm just sliding that across the way. So the last story I have that I'm so excited about, this is probably one of my favorite stories that I've ever brought to you. So hold on to your butts. You may have your entire chair, but you will only need the edge, because just now, the evening of June 23rd was the evening of the world's ugliest dog contest. And we, in fact, do have some winners. So apparently the ugliest dog contest has celebrated the beauty to be found in all pets for over 20 years, which is actually a longer time than I would have expected, for whatever reason. So this year's ugliest dog contest, world's ugliest dog contest, was a success. It was held at the Sonoma Marin Fair. And yeah, so all of the dogs also have kind of interesting stories as well. And that's what I really love, just about rescuing animals, but also just especially, dogs like this. So this particular delightful creature is not the ugliest dog. But, you know, I don't know what the competition was like, but he did receive 3rd place. So this is our 3rd place winner for ugliest dog. Now this is Harold Bartholomew, who actually not only won 3rd place, 3rd ugliest dog, but also won the Spirit Award. Now, the Spirit Award is given to a participating dog who has overcome obstacles or is serving their community, and Harold Bartholomew has done both. Also, Harold Bartholomew, who is a Chihuahua, is 16 years old, so he is a distinguished gentleman. So Harold Bartholomew, who I do also want to point out is wearing a little, like, tuxedo front bib, and I think that is fabulous. Harold Bartholomew is both deaf and blind, and was found wandering a California park alone before his rescue. But now, he uses his free time to promote animal welfare and adoption. So, you know, I've got to give it to Harold Bartholomew. Amazing. So, our second, also I do have to say Coldrake. So Coldrake shares that they were looking at a stream last night and mentioned having a cat that is 18 years old. I feel like I've mentioned this before. My 2 older cats, who are brothers, are also 18 years old, both of them. Actually doing really well too. They're pretty loud and they like to yell into my face, and they drool a lot when they're happy. But yeah, no, my 2 cats, Samurai and Max, are 18 as well. And that's one of the reasons why I now have a 4th cat. Ugh, that's a kitten. But anyway, point being, the second place winner we have here is, may I introduce to you Wild Thang, and that is Thang with an A. This is Wild Thang. So Wild Thang is a 7-year-old Pekingese who won second place, so is the 2nd ugliest dog, and apparently Wild Thang is a World's Ugliest Dog competition veteran who has competed 4 times previously to this. According to the Ugliest Dog Contest, Wild Thang's signature style is, quote, guggly, which would be a combination of glamorous and ugly. So there you have it. Actually, I feel like, as I look at him, I feel like he looks to me like, what's that one real fuzzy thing from, oh god, what was it? Was it from the Labyrinth, the real fuzzy guy? The real fuzzy guy? Anyway. Oh yeah, oh my god, Micro Chewbacca, that's absolutely it. Could you imagine just with like, the bandolier and everything? Oh, I love that. Speaking of the other cat, sorry, I didn't know you were leaning on me. This is, and I introduced him last time, but just in case anyone hasn't seen him yet, this is Osiris. Osiris, look at the camera. Osiris, who is a very leggy boy. See all that leg? Big ears and such, but he is so cute and I love him so much. He's my special friend. And he is so cuddly. I am really excited for him to get bigger. Not because I don't love him being the size. I love him being the size. He is so cute. But also because I'm pretty confident that he is an Oriental short hair, which means he will have real long legs, real big ears, and yeah, I'm excited. Oh, Crackhorse says, should see if he will run 100 meter in heels. Now, is that Osiris or is that our guggly Wild Thing? Because I think both of them probably could. I'm just saying. So that brings us to our very first place winner. May I introduce? I have the grand pleasure to introduce, let me say, Scooter. Scooter, our #1 first place winner. And I do have to say, so Scooter is a 7-year-old Chinese crested who, the Chinese crested breed does tend to have a little bit of a, I don't know if I would call it an unfair advantage in the ugly dog contest, because they tend to be top tier ugly dog winners, almost 100% of the time. But this is Scooter. He's actually a little bigger than I've seen a lot of Chinese cresteds. But yeah, apparently Linda Elmquist from Tucson, Arizona had adopted Scooter after a breeder brought the pup to a veterinarian to be euthanized because he was born with underdeveloped back legs. Yeah, so despite the challenges he has faced with his deformed hind legs, Scooter has defied all odds and shown us the meaning of resilience and determination, and has become an inspiration to countless people around the world. Yes. So, I'm just saying, Scooter, both ugly and amazing and inspirational. So, you know, I do want to also say, I've said, like 5 times, oh, which reminds me, I do need to do this one more time. Twins, more twins. But there is one more award that I do want to share, and the contest did hold votes for the People's Choice winner, and what this is that it's a dog who was not necessarily on location physically at the competition, but people online could vote for their favorite, and that was the People's Choice winner. And the People's Choice winner would be Rascal Dew, and Dew like D-E-U-X, Rascal Dew. Here it's listed that Rascal Dew is a hairless dog. He's a Chinese crested. Like, let's not beat around the bush here. He's a Chinese crested again. And he's got a real look about him. This one. Yeah, he's, the information I'm seeing here says he has 2 different colored eyes. I can't tell. They're both just real there, and starey, very starey. But yeah, so yay for this one. Yeah, he's a lot, bless him, but you know, that's cool too. So there you have it. There's our People's Choice winner. I feel, though, as far as Rascal Do goes, I feel like if he had been there on site, easy sweep for the win. This would have been a shoo-in for the #1 spot of World's Ugliest Dog. I'm just saying, I would put money on it, but, you know, it's fine, it's fine. Yeah, so that all being said, that is your weird news for the month of June 2023. A lot, you know, but I will say this. Despite the fact that some of the puppers may be a little more unconventional in their appearance than some others, you know what? They're all good boys and good girls, and I would give a cuddle to each and every one of them. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. And yeah, no, it's true. Coldrake does mention not to take shoes to that competition because they would all... But the thing is, though, right here, this buddy would not be able to chew a shoe up because he has no teeth. He has no teethies. So you work with it. Maybe he'd probably slime them, though, so... But yeah, so that is our weird news for the month of June. I am super stoked to bring you word from next month. And I do believe, if memory serves, and it may not, but I believe next month in July, there was a few months ago where I brought you a story of the world's oldest living mouse. And I believe that next month, and I haven't checked because I don't want to be sad, but if this mouse is still alive, it's a zoo mouse. It's a certain breed. July is going to be its 10th birthday. If that's the case, we are going to have to do something special. I'm just saying. So hold on to your butts for that. I'm super excited to bring you whatever it is the next month has to bring us. But thank you so much for joining me. It has been an absolute pleasure hanging out and having all of you join me for this. Real quick though, PWB brings up that a nephew is heading to Japan next month. Bucket list things I would say, go to Alpaca Land. For me. Do it for me. Alpaca Land, because alpacas. But yeah, I would definitely go. I would visit some of the temples. There's a lot of temple, like, there's some temple kind of stuff within Tokyo, but like you might have to go a little bit out. It kind of depends on where the nephew is going. But yeah, temples, Shinjuku is a really cool area. There's, oh my god, there's so much. Let me think on it, and I'll send you some stuff. There's a lot of really, like, there's a lot to see and do, depending on where the person ends up being. So, going to have a plethora of fun. That is for sure. So, yeah, otherwise, though, please take care of yourself. Make sure to come back and throughout the month, check back in. There are streams going on this channel all the time, including first and third Sunday mornings of the month. Yours truly is going to be playing some games, bringing you some coffee. Well, bringing you the vision of me drinking coffee, which maybe vicariously would go into your own system, but also playing some games, and I would love to see you. In the meantime, make sure to take care of yourself as we go through this very warm summer. And yeah, I actually, this coming week, will be back for Sirenscape. The run of the show I was doing in town has wrapped up, so I'm back on. Real excited about that, and I will be back over on Trooper SJP's channel on Friday to join up with the gang for Travelers Pirates of Draenax. So you're gonna be seeing this old mug quite a bit more than had been happening. So take care of yourselves, have a wonderful night, and do something nice for you because you deserve it. And until next time, I will see you then.